Conservatism and cultural shifts in Japan. Tradition in a changing world. In recent years, Japan has been experiencing a fascinating cultural moment, one defined not only by innovation and global influence, but also by the steady reemergence of conservative values. To outsiders, Japan is often seen as a land of contrasts. Bullet trains racing past thousand-year-old temples, robots sharing space with geisha, neon towers overlooking ancient shrines. Yet beneath these juxtapositions, one clear trend stands out in 2025. A cautious embrace of change, paired with a firm grip on tradition. Let us take a closer look at how conservatism is shaping Japanese culture today. 1. Traditional family and social values. First, there is a renewed emphasis on family structure and gender roles. Conservative voices continue to promote what they call the traditional household model. The idea of a breadwinner father, a homemaker mother, and clearly defined family responsibilities. This runs directly against some of the liberal reforms being debated elsewhere. Same-sex marriage, for instance, remains a contentious issue. Though activists and younger Japanese push for recognition, political resistance is strong, and progress has been cautious. Gender equality, too, is a subject of tension. Efforts to create equal opportunities for women in the workplace face structural barriers, not only from laws or policies, but from deeply rooted cultural expectations. Many young people feel these conservative stances clash with global norms, especially in an era where digital culture exposes them daily to different lifestyles abroad. Yet for older generations, conservatism provides reassurance. It offers continuity in a rapidly changing world and a reminder of the values they grew up with. 2. Political conservatism and national identity. Political conservatism has also gained momentum. The Sanseido Party and other right-leaning movements have tapped into widespread unease about immigration and globalization. Their message is simple: protect Japan's uniqueness, preserve cultural identity, and strengthen national pride. For many, these positions reflect more than ideology. They embody anxieties about Japan's demographic crisis. With the population shrinking and aging rapidly, questions of who belongs, who contributes, and how traditions will be maintained have taken center stage. Limiting immigration and reinforcing national identity are seen by some as ways of protecting not just borders, but cultural continuity. This political conservatism mirrors a broader global trend. Countries around the world wrestling with the balance between openness and preservation, between diversity and identity.
3. Respect for tradition. Of course, conservatism in Japan is not only about politics, it is deeply cultural. Respect for tradition remains a central pillar of Japanese life. Despite astonishing advances in technology, from AI-driven cities to augmented reality tourism, Japan continues to preserve its rituals and festivals. Shrine visits at New Year's, tea ceremonies, cherry blossom viewing, and traditional Matsuri festivals remain woven into the national calendar. Even when modern upgrades are introduced, such as eco-friendly lanterns or digital festival maps, the core symbolism of these traditions is carefully protected. This balance is part of Japan's genius, layering new technology onto old foundations without erasing them. The conservative instinct here is not reactionary, but protective, ensuring that amid constant innovation, the spiritual and communal heart of culture remains intact. 4. Workplace conservatism versus change. The workplace is another arena where conservative values dominate. Japanese companies continue to prize loyalty, hierarchy, and seniority-based promotion. Even as some young employees experiment with concepts like quiet quitting or flexible work arrangements, the mainstream system is still shaped by values of order, discipline, and sacrifice. Reform happens slowly, often at the margins. Work-life balance campaigns exist. For many, stability and predictability remain preferable to radical change. This conservatism reflects both strength and challenge. It fosters long-term commitment and cohesion, but risks alienating younger workers who crave flexibility in a globalized economy. 5. Cultural gatekeeping. Finally, conservatism shows up in cultural gatekeeping. Japan is famous worldwide for its popular culture, anime, J-pop, cosplay, VTubers, and these industries continue to thrive. But beneath the surface, there is pushback against excessive westernization or liberalization. Certain schools, temples, and local governments actively promote Japanese values education. Public debates emphasize the need to filter global influences through the lens of tradition. The goal is not to reject modernity but to control the pace and form of change, ensuring that Japan evolves without losing its distinct identity. Continuity, not reversal. Overall, Japan's cultural conservatism today is less about turning back the clock and more about maintaining continuity. In a time of demographic decline, economic uncertainty, and globalization, conservatism provides a sense of order. Youth trends, interestingly, often run in parallel. While politics lean rightward, many young people embrace nostalgic or retro aesthetics, vintage fashion, Showa-era music, or the revival of traditional crafts. In this way, both old and young are engaging with the past, albeit in different forms. Public art and the nude statue debate. To truly understand how conservatism plays out, we can look at one surprising but telling example: the debate over nude statues in Japan's public spaces. Walk through a park in Tokyo or Shizuoka, and you may encounter them: bronze nudes of women stretching, children playing, or abstract female forms. These works are so common that for decades, most people hardly noticed them. Yet their history is important. During World War II, nearly all public statues were melted down for metal, including even Shibuya's original statue of Hachiko, the loyal dog. After the war, from the 1950s through the 1970s, local governments commissioned public art to symbolize peace, rebirth, and cultural sophistication. Inspired by European traditions, sculptors celebrated the human form. Curiously, the trend leaned heavily toward women and children. Male nudes were rare, as they risked evoking aggression or militarism. Female bodies, by contrast, were framed as universal symbols of purity, vitality, and innocence. Bureaucrats and artists alike, most of them men, filled Japan's parks with bronzes of women. For decades, no one questioned this. Changing attitudes. But now, in the 2020s, those statues are under scrutiny. Younger generations, particularly school children, have begun voicing discomfort. What once symbolized innocence now feels outdated or embarrassing. In Takamatsu, Kagawa Prefecture, 2 nude statues of young girls are slated for removal after children told officials they disliked walking past them. The sculptor, Seiichi Abe, now 94, expressed disappointment, insisting his work was meant to celebrate vitality and unity. But city officials argued children's voices must come first. Other cities tell similar stories. In 2012, the town of Okazumo asked officials to cover replicas of Michelangelo's David and the Venus de Milo with underwear. In 2021, Takarazuka removed a beloved bronze, Ai no Te, citing gender equality concerns. And in Shizuoka, Mayor Takashi Namba suggested relocating Renoir statues from busy station plazas to museums, arguing they were out of place in today's world. The larger conversation. These debates reflect more than art criticism, they mirror broader cultural shifts. For some, nude statues represent harmless background art, a bridge to European cultural traditions. For others, they reinforce outdated gender norms or make public spaces uncomfortable. Experts argue that the solution may lie in dialogue, not erasure. Professor Takayama of Asia University suggests that if citizens recognize such works as art, relocation may not be necessary. But he also acknowledges that times and values change. Just as Columbus statues were re-evaluated in the United States, so too are Japan's bronzes facing a cultural reckoning. In some cases, redesigns have emerged. One school even modified a praying child statue, replacing it with a seated version after concerns that it encouraged unsafe smartphone use. These changes show how society negotiates between heritage and modern sensibilities. Conclusion: conservatism as continuity. What does all this mean for Japan? In short, conservatism here is not just political, but cultural and social. It manifests in debates over family, immigration, tradition, work, and even public art. Japan's conservatism is less about shutting doors and more about carefully choosing which ones to open. It is about balancing change with continuity, ensuring that as the nation adapts to global trends, it retains the values that define its identity. The nude statue debate may seem trivial at first glance, but it highlights something deeper: the way symbols shift meaning across generations. What was once seen as universal may now be questioned, and that questioning itself is part of cultural growth. In 2025, Japan continues to walk this tightrope, modernizing, innovating, globalizing, while holding firmly to tradition. Its conservatism is not simply resistance, it is a method of navigating uncertainty, an anchor in a world where values change as quickly as technology. And perhaps, in that balance, lies the secret of Japan's enduring resilience.